The utterly legendary PPSH-41. Designed in the Soviet Union by Georgy Shapagin as a simplified version of the PPD-40, the PPSH made heavy use of stamped steel for rapid production just in time for the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. Factory fitted with a massive 75-round drum magazine and firing a blistering 1,250 rounds per minute, the PPSH was easily the best close quarters weapon of the war, with over 6 million produced by the war's end. Even after World War II, the PPSH continued service during the Cold War in Korea and Vietnam, and while its use diminished with the declining popularity of the 7.62 Tokarev round, examples were still seeing use during the 21st century in the global war on terror and in Ukraine over 80 years later. In airsoft, however, the PPSH has long been present as an AEG from brands like Hexagon, Ares and Snow Wolf, but we've never had a proper GBB version of this legendary submachine gun. Until now! Hi, I'm Andrew, and in this very special video, we'll be taking a look at the very eagerly anticipated VFC PPSH-41 GBB, the world's first gas blowback PPSH-41, and I'm very excited to show you its features. On first impressions, the primary thing you notice about the VFC PPSH-41 is its bulk. Seriously, the video games don't do it justice as to how large this submachine gun is. Furthermore, its size is matched only by its heft. With the gun sitting at over 4 kilos, it's going to take some time getting used to it in the field. Externally, this PPSH is made of solid steel and wood, with incredible detail on the furnishings and the markings. Just look at the markings on the top over here. They really do look like they were stamped out by an exhausted Soviet factory worker who knows the Wehrmacht are just outside the gates of Moscow. Now we've got rivets on the sides, and the front sling mount is even straight up welded on this, just like the real thing. You just know that VFC did not cheap out on the externals and spared no effort into making this as authentic as possible. Now at the front and top, you have the huge single-piece steel upper receiver, featuring the bow shroud, the massive compensator, and a hooded front sight, adjustable by elevation with tools. Now further back, you have this strange little nub on top over here. On the real PPSH, this block locks the gun's barrel into the trunnion and secures it in place. On this airsoft gun, however, you can swing it to the side to reveal a cleverly hidden TDC hop-up, adjustable with a small hex key. It's frankly one of the best implementations I've seen of a TDC hop-up on a historical gun, and makes it both easy to adjust yet historically accurate at the same time. Further back, we have the rear open sights that can be flipped to both 100 and 200 meters. Underneath, we have the bolt. Now, like most open bolt guns, the PPSH has a high risk of slam firing. So to mitigate this, the PPSH has not just one, but 2 bolt safeties. One to keep the bolt securely closed, and another one to keep it securely open when you don't want to fire, but do want to keep a round chambered. Now underneath, we have the fire selector and trigger. Rear is semi and forward is full auto. Now as mentioned, this is an open bolt gun, so the trigger has no sort of fancy wall like you see on modern guns, but simply acts as a bolt release, which is basically what it is. Like its exterior, the internals of the VFC PPSH are brutally simple. Now push this spring-loaded tab at the back to open up to reveal the bolt, the recoil spring, and that's basically it. The control group underneath simply consists of a firing sear controlled by the trigger and a disconnector controlled by the fire selector. It's incredibly simple and exactly like the real thing, so well done VFC. Now for the most complex part of the gun, which is its magazine. The VFC PPSH-41 GBB comes with a massive 120 round gas magazine. It actually consists of 2 parts, the gas tank and the detachable BB tray. that functions like a big mid-cap magazine right over here. To load, fill the gas tank with gas through the fill valve right over here. VFC claims it can fire about 240 rounds before needing a refill, though naturally this is dependent on temperature and the gas used. Then, fill in the BBs from the top of the BB tray. Conversely, you can buy several BB trays and simply hot swap them into the gas tank by removing the lid, just like the real drum magazine, to reduce the amount of time between reloads. After that, push it back in, pop this back on, and you're generally good to go again. After that, just push the mag release down, slide the drum in, fold the mag release, and lock it, and you're set. The drum mag is an interesting and rather immersive take on the PPSH's signature volume of fire. But I will have to note that it is a very bulky item, and it would be nice if VFC comes out with the stick magazines too. Now, funnily enough, the Soviets encountered the same ergonomic problems with the real PPSH's drum mag, which is why they introduced the stick mags in the first place. And now for price. At $500 US, the price of the VFC PPSH-41 is nothing to scoff at. That being said, it is the only Airsoft PPSH-41 GBB in existence. And in all fairness, the price is actually quite reasonable for an airsoft gun with full steel and wood externals. So the VFC PPSH-41 GBB certainly looks like it has everything we've ever wanted in a PPSH Airsoft replica. But yet again, how does it shoot? Let's head to the range and find out. So here I am in the standing supported position. There's been considerable debate over the years over how to properly fire a PPSH-41. Some people insist on fire it forward like this, mainly people from the 2000s, 2010s. However, historically, the PPSH's barrel shroud would get very, very hot after repeated firing. So holding it by the magazine isn't very comfortable. In fact, the actual proper way is this nice handhold area over here, which feels more comfortable, but is very front heavy. And over time, you do feel yourself going. But enough about ergonomics. Let's just shoot the damn thing. All right, not bad at all. In fact, actually, it's really good. The bolt action is very, very loud. You really do hear that steel on steel thudding sound. And overall, it really translates very well into the felt recoil as well. I really did enjoy it. It is really, it's about as realistic as you can get with a PPSH. Fantastic, Ergonomics aside, you can see that the quality of this gun is exceptional. You have little weld spots over here and here for the sling mount, and overall it does feel that sort of aged look. Many gun companies, they make a steel gun. That's fine, it's great, it feels great. However, it looks clean, it looks fresh out of the factory. The PPSH was not made in a clean way. It was made in the most desperate, terrifying, and most intense parts of World War II. And so the guns were basically hammered together, welded, and stamped as quickly as possible without any paint or any furnishings. And the VFC's really, really blown their load over this because it looks absolutely fantastic. It really does feel like a genuine aged firearm. Aside from the wood looks pretty fresh, but you beat it around quite a bit, I'm sure it'll do much better. Shooting, as you can hear, it's loud, it is snappy, it hits hard, and it hits fast. Follow-up shots do happen very quickly, which is unusual because for most open bolt airsoft guns, there is a bit of a delay with that bolt going back, especially from firing it and then the bolt striking the primer. But this one, the follow-up shots come very, very, very quickly, and I really do like that. It really, if you fire it on full auto, in fact, I'll just do that right now, you really get that sort of spray and pray impression. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Well, it's all right. So these are actually all on the target. However, as you will see, the rounds are a bit all over the place. Now, I can probably attribute this to the hop-up needing to be broken down a bit more. That being said, it is a mass-fire SMG from about 80 years ago, so you can't really say too much about its accuracy. Open bolt guns are, by default, less accurate than closed bolt guns because there's a lot more play between the bolt and the carrier group when it comes to going striking the BB. That being said, this is perfectly skirmishable in closer ranges. You know, you will be able to provide a significant amount of suppressing fire in-game and just blast your opponents with as much ammo as you can. Far more than most airsoft guns, especially GBBs. So that's got it going. That being said, as you can see over here, this is a sturdy SMG. It's made of steel, no wobble, no rattle, absolutely plays completely fine. And I really, really do appreciate it. I really do like it. You know, this is Airsoft's first GBB PPSH, and it absolutely blows everything out of the water. Probably because it's the only one, but also due to the fact that for the first time, VFC have absolutely knocked it out of the park yet again. So I'm really impressed, really happy about it. And yeah, if I wasn't having a kid soon, I'd totally buy one myself. So without much ado, let's head back to the studio. And we're back. And it's safe to say that the VFC PPSH GBB is quite possibly has the highest amount of GBB firepower, basically since the VFC M249. Externals are gorgeous with a sturdy, full stamp steel and wood construction just like the real thing. And its high attention to historical detail, as well as its innovative GBB design, it really is what makes it possible. Performance is also pretty decent with a fast rate of fire and good accuracy. The price is steep, but quite reasonable considering the quality of the materials used. But most important thing about this gun is the fact that somebody made a GBB PPSH. With the Cybergun Thompson, the Northeast Sten, and now the VFC PPSH, we only now lack a green gas blowback MP40 before we can round off all the major submachine guns of the era in airsoft. Now, as an airsofter for nearly 20 years, this is actually quite heartwarming to see the industry take another step in rounding off all these guns with such an excellent PPSH. For this, we give the VFC PPSH-41 GBB an outstanding 5 out of 5 stars. Well done. So let's hand it over to you guys. What are your thoughts on the VFC PPSH-41 GBB? Let us know in the comment section below, and then for these cool products and many more, visit us at www.redwolfairsoft.com. This is Andrew, out.